Hey everyone, this is Sunbro, and you are currently watching an installing screen for Destiny. That's because new update is out. It's update 1.0.3, and as you can see on the screen, it's fairly large, 1.07 gigs. And I'm going to tell you what this update includes, just like if you watch my Dark Souls stuff, what I do for their updates. And I'm going to start doing this for all Destiny updates in the future. First off, I'm going to start out with the stuff that most people care about, which is going to be PvP related stuff in Destiny, including the new Iron Banner, which I will be starting with. So for the Iron Banner, players must be level 20 and above to lead a fire team in the Iron Banner. So no more jumping in with your low level character, unless, for the next part, players below level 20 can only accompany players above level 20. So you have to get someone above level 20 or above to bring you into the game with them if you're under level 20 and want to participate in the Iron Banner. The vendor for the Iron Banner, Lord Saladin, now has 5 reputation ranks, increased from 3. And there are new features added, which is Tempered Buff and Reforging. And the Tempered Buff is going to give you more reputation faster when you activate it for a limited period of time. And it doesn't list what Reforging is here, but yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Sorry about that. And for PvP, the general section for PvP is basically scoring related. Nothing too big that's worth reading, except for they added in functionality for pre-made fire teams to be matched more regularly together. So if you're in a 3v3 game, if your fire team consists of 2 or more players, so max would be 3 in that case, they'll get matched together with more pre-made fire teams more often. And in 6 versus 6 games, fire teams that are pre-made of 4 or more players, so 6 at maximum, will be matched together more often. So you and your buddies playing together will be matched more often against someone else and their buddies playing together. So it'll create more competitive games. And as for maps, these are mostly exploit fixes, so sorry if you're someone who uses this as like your only means of ever winning in PvP, but you're just gonna have to get good. Sorry. The map First Light implemented multiple fixes to stop players from getting into advantageous positions. The map Blind Watch addressed some balancing issues for control game type by moving zones, modifying routes, and adding cover objects. So the map has been redesigned to move players around and the zones are in different places. Adjusted landing and respawn points to accommodate new geometry changes. Added protection to prevent players from getting on top of a pipe high above the intended playable space. Now the map Firebase Delphi. Added protections to prevent players from getting outside the intended playable area between Control Zone A and the Crane Room. For the map Rusted Lands, blocked off the monitors above Control Zone A to prevent players from hiding inside of them. The map Shores of Time added a Vex pillar to prevent players from sniping through a small gap on the Ninja platform. Implemented multiple fixes to stop players from getting into unfairly advantageous positions. The map Exodus Blue. Multiple fixes implemented to stop players from getting into advantageous positions, especially the giant hose reel near Control Zone A. Fixed an issue with visibility culling behind Control Zone A. And lastly, Twilight Gap. is the map. Adjusted landing points to keep players from fighting too soon in Rumble matches. Added protections to prevent players from getting into unintended areas, for example, atop the security camera at Control Zone C. And lastly, added geometry to fill in small gaps that let players see out of the world. And that is it for the PvP, so if that's all you're here for, there's really nothing else for that. And then I will start back with the general changes. First off, with voice chat, which is something people have been wanting this change for a while, added a new social feature that enables users to access a channel for team chat, so you don't have to be like in a exact fire team together. If you go into like a strike now, you'll be able to do that. Well, that's actually the next one. Match-made fire teams will now be able to talk to each other in strikes in team-based Crucible matches, so you won't have to join in a party with the random people you get matched up with anymore. You'll be able to chat with them right away. Next up is classes. Fixed an issue in which two players who performed a melee lunge simultaneously would teleport through each other. Fixed an issue with Blink Strike. Excuse me. Fixed an issue in which Blink Strike damage would be caused by colliding with the Blink Strike rather than the melee impact. And fixed an issue in which Warlock bonds dismantled into Titan materials. Next off is weapons. Under General, reduce camera shake when being hit by explosive rounds, which is definitely a good thing. And for perks, under weapons, the Clown Cartridge perk has been replaced with other perks in shotgun upgrade trees, so it's no longer a thing. And the perk Headseeker fixed an issue in which the bonus precision damage did not always get applied. So if you're getting crits with the Headseeker perk on, it's going to actually function properly now. For activities, the mission Buried City fixed an exploit on Mars that would clear all enemies from Clovis Bray, which is one of the enemies. For strikes, Winter's Run fixed an exploit in the Exor boss encounter. And difficulty will scale less for 3-player fire teams, making strikes less deadly for them. So the difficulty will increase less at the more players you gain. So strikes will be less deadly in general. And for heroics, fixed an issue in which engrams earned during daily and weekly heroic activities were not displayed in the post-game carnage report. And that would usually be because you received 2 items that weren't an engram, so they just wouldn't show up because it can only show 2 reward slots at the same time. Next off is cinematics. Fix several issues with the synchronization of cinematic subtitles in various languages. For destinations, under combatants, fix an issue in which Vex Cyclopses and Hive Shrieker health bars would not update properly, which I've encountered. I had an invincible Cyclops chasing me around during a strike that his health bar was empty, and he wasn't dead, and he was invincible. And reduce the number of stealth sword vandals that spawn in the basement of the terrestrial complex on lower difficulties. And as for events, sorry about the screen dim, as for events, public events will occur 10 to 15% more frequently in public spaces. So the whole sky darken thing and then the event starting, well, you know what it is. That'll happen 10 to 15% more often. For vendors, and this is a thing that a lot of players have wanted, increase the number of bounty slots in a player's inventory from 5 to 10, so you can now carry 10 bounties at the same time. Added shaders to Eva Levente's shop, the outfitter near the speaker in the tower. Now there is a shader preview functionality, which a lot of people have wanted, so you don't just have to buy your shaders and blindly hope it's the color scheme you want. You can see what it's all about now. Same thing for emblems. They've added a preview screen for emblems before you purchase them. Marks and reputation icons and meters have been adjusted to better differentiate the two, so people aren't confused. Fixed an issue in which strange coins and motes of light do not route to the postmaster if your inventory is full. Fixed an issue in which engrams were not displaying the possible contents in the Cryptark vendor menu. Fixed an issue in which players did not receive bounty or mission credit when assisting in the killing of a Walker or Vex Cyclops. And armor stat upgrade potentials added to added to item compare and on vendor and inventory screens. And then we've got a few more things. Now the HUD. Improved readability of grenade and melee recharge states. Improved visibility of objects in the motion tracker. Improved the visual look of revive waypoints and last man standing. Added skull modifier descriptions to the navigation mode screen. And fixed an issue in which the names of downed teammates did not always display on screen. Next up is Orbit. Destiny version number added to the character login screen. Added dialogue imagery for various events. Fixed an issue in which new items available from special events or from special orders vendors would not show up in the message count in the director. Fixed an issue in which the PlayStation Plus dialogue is mistakenly shown when selecting a specific PvP activity. Added countdown timers for weekly and special events, so now you don't have to wonder when they're going to end. You'll know like the exact time, whether or not you have a little bit of time to fit in a daily or something. Fixed various issues with director animations, which is like character movements. Fixed an issue in which the player/inventory screen would sometimes close during certain parts of the space flight sequence. So now you'll be able to always, the overly long space flight sequences that we all hate, you will now be able to always have your inventory open to manage all your stuff and look at your thing instead of just the pretty space in the background. And lastly, added post-game carnage report for the previous games during the matchmaking search. So now you can look at how you did last game while you're looking for matchmaking for PvP. So again, so you don't get bored, because I'm sure that's what they're worried about the long loading times. And then this last bit of stuff is just technical things. Fixing connectivity. They changed the icons for spin metal, relic iron, helium filaments to make them look more representative of the actual items. And several updates to inventory icons, several updates to talent tree icons, and that's not affecting any of the items or your perks you have in your talent trees. It's just changing what the image looks like, so they're more, differentiated from each other. Network connection quality indicators are now added to roster, so you can see whether or not some random guy in the tower is going to have like horrible connection, so you may not want him joining your fire team. And there's new icons added to the scoreboard and roster to indicate voice problems due to network issues. Next up is audio. Improved audio cues for sticking a player or getting stuck by a grenade. Fixed an issue in which audio cue would not play upon completing a bounty. Fixed an issue in which Guardian Down referred to the wrong gender in French, Spanish, and Portuguese because their Guardian is not like a gender-neutral word. It's it's one or the other to differentiate male or female. And lastly, technical. Added ability for Bungie DOC to send in-game alerts and messages, such as like server maintenance coming soon sort of stuff. So it doesn't just kick you out of a mission as you're in it because server maintenance is coming. Fixed stability issues across all platforms, so less random kicks to orbit, basically. Fixed an issue that would cause rare crash during spaceflight into certain activities. Improved patch installation process, but it seems to still take forever, as you can see. Implemented PS3 specific performance optimizations, and fixed some issues causing Beetle and Lionfish kicks to orbit. And those two names are the little names of the errors that you see when you get like kicked to orbit. So that is all of the things that were included in this Destiny patch. I did leave out a few things that no one would really care about, just super long-winded explanations about bug fixes and kicks to orbit and stuff like that. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and if you've been having any of those issues or whatever, then hopefully me telling you that this patch fixes them will alleviate some of your stress. Hopefully there's less kicks to orbit now, because people are always bummed about that. And again, if you're still watching this and you're an avid PvP player, then, and you're using those exploits that I mentioned at the beginning, then you just gotta get good. Can't rely on exploits forever. As any Dark Souls player would know. So, that's it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. Remember to praise the sun, and I will see you all next time.